Well, today I'm going through 5 more items I wish I would have bought sooner in my backpacking career. And you're watching Andy Parrish Outdoors. Well, hey everybody, Andy here, and thanks for joining me today. If you're new to this channel is all about backpacking and outdoor adventures and gear and tips and tricks and you name it. So if those things interest you, go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll be updated every time I post new content. And there's a lot of it coming, so just go ahead and do it. So last week I put out my top 5 items that I wish I would have bought sooner in my backpacking career. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and link that up above. But I had already put together a pretty long list of things that I wanted to talk about, but I could only fit 5 into that video. So I thought I'd circle back around and pick 5 other items that I really wish I would have bought earlier as a backpacker. So we're going to go through those today. Okay, number 1 is my Darn Tough socks. Yeah, they've been a game changer for me. Since I found out about them and started wearing them, I have had 0 issues when it comes to blisters and, just being uncomfortable with my feet on trail. They have been an amazing pair with my trail runners. So the Darn Tough socks are very form-fitting. For me, there hasn't been any, slippage, sliding of those like I've seen with other socks that I've worn, and they've just been amazingly durable. And on top of that, for being able to wear them as many days in a row as I have, they resist odor very well. So that's a nice thing, is they don't reek after a long period of time, like some of the other synthetics may. So that's my number 1. Darn Tough wool socks. Number 2, Down Quilts. Awesome. That's all I can say. Making the switch from a synthetic mummy bag to a down quilt shaved me a ton of weight and also made it so much more comfortable for me. I was never really a big fan of the feel in a mummy bag, where you're just kind of restricted. You can't really roll around in them very easily, at least in the ones that I had. And I was able to almost cut my weight in half, going from bags that were, 40, 50 ounces down to my, 20 degree was my first down quilt that I bought from Enlighten Equipment. I'll put all the information for all of these down below. So if you want to, again, go check those out, all of the information will be down there. But my Enlighten Equipment down quilt, 23 degree bag, was right around 23, 24 ounces. So super light, super compactable. So, I could really squeeze that down to a small amount of space. For me, that was a huge difference from the big, heavy synthetic bags that I had been using earlier. That's my number 2. Number 3 on my list is my Baselayer. And specifically, this is my cool weather Baselayer. And that's the Smartwool 150. Took me a long time to find this one, and unfortunately that was the case. But I wish I would have found this earlier. I wish somebody would have told me about it. I started with synthetics, doing a lot of skiing and cold weather stuff. Thermals, yeah, I was kind of aware of that, but I'd never really gone into something as comfortable as the Smartwool 150s. The synthetics were great. They were a little heavy for me, both in weight and in thickness. So great maybe in super cold weather, but for high activity hiking in cold weather, in cool weather, it just didn't really work for me. So I made the switch originally to some icebreakers, 100% wool, 200 layer, 200 level, and those were fine, but they weren't great. I went to the Smartwool 250s, which are amazingly warm and great for sleeping in cold weather. I sometimes will bring those as my sleep gear. but I found that the Smartwool 150s were the perfect combination of, temperature management, breathability, moisture wicking, odor resistance, all of those kind of things. So now the Smartwool 150s have been my go-to as far as, temperatures under, 50, 60 degrees and colder. Great for my base layer as I'm hiking. They're still great and very versatile, so you can wear them to sleep in. They do provide a ton of warmth, but that's my base layer of choice in cooler temperatures. That's the Smartwool 150. And we're up to number 4 on my list, and that is trekking poles. Okay, and these are mine. These are the Black Diamond Alpine carbon corks. They're great, but more generally speaking, just having trekking poles in general for me was a big deal. And I was definitely in that group, and some of you may be there now, where I'd done a lot of day hiking and even backpacking a little bit without them, and I kind of thought they were silly. I thought, it's just extra weight to bring. Can it really make that big of a difference? I really don't want to get into that, and I kind of dismissed it as unnecessary. Well, after talking to some other folks and getting to see them up close and finally talking myself into trying them, I found that I really did like them. I saw some of the studies that said, yeah, it'll provide, better impact cushioning for your joints, your knees and your ankles and things like that. But I also found just the stabilization component to them to be very nice. You're out on trail, conditions are not always ideal. It's muddy, it's slippery, it's icy, whatever it's going to be. Having, a few extra points of contact. There's been a few times I've slipped and I probably would have gone down if it wasn't for my trekking poles, and I've also found them to be amazingly helpful in things like stream crossings where you're navigating, walking on slippery rocks or logs as you're going over, maybe even deeper sections of water. Being able to put those poles down and provide some stability when there's nothing to grab onto has been awesome. So I'm a huge fan of these in particular. They're super comfortable. I love them. I'd recommend them to lots of folks. They're super durable. That's the Black Diamond Alpine carbon cork trekking poles. Okay, so if you found this useful or interesting or informative, please go ahead and give the video a like. It really does help the video. It helps other people find these videos that are looking for this type of information. And overall, it just really helps the channel. So thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into number 5. And on my list, that is the Garmin inReach Mini. Now, this has been a fairly recent addition to my backpacking kit. Just this past year, it became a regular piece of gear that I would bring with me. And for me, it was both peace of mind for myself and my family that when I'm out on trail and I'm doing bigger, more grand trips, cell phone reception gets spottier and spottier and spottier. So, when you're day hiking in the state parks and then you go to, the longer sections of trail and then you get into the real deep backcountry, having a way to communicate with your loved ones for me was kind of eye-opening. So now that's something that I take with me all the time. I love being able to get weather reports. I like being able to send text messages back and forth if need be, no matter where I am. As long as I've got a view of the sky that's consistent, I'm going to be able to connect to the satellites and send text messages back and forth with my loved ones. So for me, the Garmin inReach Mini has been an awesome piece of gear. Okay, so I want to know, though, what's on your list? And I got some great responses on the last video of just items that maybe I hadn't considered yet, thought about, but just great ideas, and it's a great way to share ideas with others. So I'd like to know, what would be on your top 5 list of items that you wish you would have got sooner? Go ahead and leave those in the comments below. Let's get that conversation started, and I'll answer any other questions if you have any on mine. I'm happy to do that. And again, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, be well.